Today we step into the balanced, harmonious, and relationship-focused energy of Libra, or the seventh house. Libra, ruled by Venus, is the sign of partnership, beauty, and diplomacy. The seventh house carries these same themes. It governs one-to-one connections, marriage, contracts, and the ways we seek balance through others. When planets land here, their energy is expressed through relationships, cooperation, and the pursuit of harmony. This part of the chart is about reflection because the seventh house is where we meet the mirror of the other. It shows how we give and receive love, how we negotiate equality, and how we grow through partnerships, both personal and professional. Each planet in Libra, or the seventh house, takes on a relational tone. The Sun seeks identity through connection. Mercury communicates with charm and diplomacy. Venus thrives in love and beauty, while Saturn may test commitment and boundaries. No matter the planet, its energy is filtered through themes of balance, fairness, and collaboration. When Libra, or the seventh house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to focus on partnerships, agreements, and the way harmony is built. Because Libra and the seventh house remind us that life isn't just about who we are alone, it's about who we become in relationship with others. Today, we step into the graceful, diplomatic, and partnership-focused energy of the Sun in Libra, or in the seventh house. The Sun represents your core identity, purpose, and the light you shine into the world. Libra, ruled by Venus, is balanced, charming, and relationship-oriented. The seventh house carries these same themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one connections, and the search for harmony. When the Sun lands here, your purpose is to shine through partnership, cooperation, and the art of building balance with others. This placement creates someone who thrives on connection. You often see yourself most clearly through your relationships, and your growth comes from learning about compromise, fairness, and collaboration. At your best, you embody warmth, grace, and the ability to bring people together. At your most unbalanced, you may struggle with indecision or relying too heavily on validation from others. In relationships, you're affectionate, loyal, and attentive. You seek equality and harmony, and you shine when you're part of a balanced, supportive partnership. In career, this placement favors roles that involve negotiation, diplomacy, law, design, art, or any field where cooperation and charm open doors. You excel at working with others and bringing balance to groups. In health, balance is everything. Stress may arise when relationships are strained, so tending to emotional harmony supports your physical well-being. Gentle movement, art, and beauty can be healing. Financially, you may prefer shared resources, or partnerships can play a key role in your prosperity. Fairness and balance are essential in financial dealings. When the Sun in Libra, or the seventh house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a reminder that your light shines brightest in connection. This is a time to focus on relationships, agreements, and harmony. So ask yourself, am I embracing the give and take of partnership, or losing myself trying to please others? Because the Sun in Libra, or the seventh house, teaches that true identity is not about standing alone. It's about finding balance and purpose through meaningful connection. Today, we step into the diplomatic, charming, and partnership-focused energy of Mercury in Libra, or in the seventh house. Mercury represents thought, communication, and how we process and share ideas. Libra, ruled by Venus, is graceful, fair-minded, and relationship-oriented. The seventh house mirrors these themes. It governs one-to-one connections, marriage, contracts, and balance. When Mercury lands here, the mind becomes relational, diplomatic, and focused on harmony through dialogue. This placement creates someone who thinks best in conversation. You're skilled at negotiation, listening, and finding common ground. At your best, you're fair, tactful, and persuasive, able to see both sides of an issue with clarity. At your most unbalanced, you may struggle with indecision, people-pleasing, or avoiding conflict for the sake of peace. In relationships, you value open communication and intellectual connection. You may express affection through words of reassurance, thoughtful dialogue, or working together to resolve conflict. In career, Mercury here thrives in law, mediation, counselling, design, writing, or any role that requires charm, cooperation, and the ability to negotiate. You excel in partnerships and collaborative environments. In health, mental well-being is tied to relational harmony. Stress can show up when partnerships feel out of balance, so talking through your emotions and surrounding yourself with beauty helps restore clarity. Financially, you're drawn to fairness in agreements. Business partnerships or collaborations may play a role in your financial growth. When Mercury in Libra or the 7th house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to speak with balance and listen with care. A partnership, agreement, or important conversation may be the key to clarity. So ask yourself, am I communicating for true understanding or just to keep the peace? Because Mercury in Libra or the 7th house teaches that real harmony isn't about silence. It's about words spoken with fairness, respect, and love. Today, we step into the graceful, magnetic, and relationship-oriented energy of Venus in Libra or in the 7th house. Venus represents love, beauty, pleasure, and what we value. Libra, ruled by Venus itself, is diplomatic, elegant, and harmony-seeking. The 7th house mirrors these themes. It governs marriage, partnerships, contracts, and balance. When Venus lands here, love and beauty are expressed through connection, cooperation, and the pursuit of harmony in relationships. This placement creates someone who thrives in partnership. You're naturally charming, affectionate, and tuned into the needs of others. At your best, you embody grace, fairness, and the ability to create beauty in relationships. At your most unbalanced, you may struggle with dependency, people-pleasing, or valuing appearances over depth. In relationships, you seek loyalty, romance, and equality. You're drawn to partners who are attentive, supportive, and share your appreciation for beauty and balance. Love for you is about creating peace, cooperation, and shared joy. In career, Venus here shines in art, design, law, diplomacy, counseling, or any role where your sense of harmony and charm can bring people together. You may also succeed in partnerships or collaborative ventures. In health, your well-being is tied to emotional and relational balance. Stress in love or partnership may affect your energy, while harmony and beauty restore your sense of peace. Financially, this placement often brings luck through partnerships, contracts, or shared resources. You value fairness in financial dealings and may be drawn to investing in beauty, art, or aesthetics. When Venus in Libra or the 7th house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to embrace love, harmony, and connection. A relationship or partnership may hold the key to balance and fulfillment now. So ask yourself, am I creating relationships built on equality and harmony? Or am I sacrificing myself to keep the peace? Because Venus in Libra or the 7th house teaches that true love isn't about appearances. It's about balance, beauty, and the joy of sharing life with another. Today we step into the gentle, relational, and harmony-seeking energy of the moon in Libra or in the 7th house. The moon represents your emotions, instincts, and inner needs. Libra, ruled by Venus, is graceful, fair-minded, and partnership-focused. The 7th house mirrors these themes. It governs one-to-one connections, marriage, and balance. When the moon lands here, emotions are deeply tied to relationships, cooperation, and the need for harmony with others. This placement creates someone who feels most secure when connected. Your emotional well-being is linked to the state of your relationships, and you thrive when there is peace, beauty, and balance in your partnerships. At your best, you're empathetic, diplomatic, and able to sense what others need to feel at ease. At your most unbalanced, you may struggle with dependency, avoiding conflict, or losing yourself in trying to please others. In relationships, you're affectionate, caring, and emotionally responsive. You long for companionship that feels equal and supportive, and you give your heart to creating harmony. In career, this placement shines in law, diplomacy, design, art, counseling, or any role that involves cooperation and emotional intelligence. You excel at working with people and bringing calm into tense situations. In health, your emotional balance is essential for physical well-being. Stress or disharmony in relationships can weigh heavily, so creating peace and surrounding yourself with beauty restores your inner calm. Financially, you may prefer shared resources or financial partnerships. Fairness and equality are key in financial matters. When the moon in Libra or the seventh house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a reminder that your emotional truth is found in connection. A partnership or relational dynamic may need attention now, so ask yourself, am I honouring my own needs in relationships, or am I giving too much just to keep the peace? Because the moon in Libra or the seventh house teaches that true harmony comes not from avoiding conflict, but from building emotional balance rooted in honesty and care. Today we step into the relational, cooperative, and harmony-seeking path of the North Node in Libra, or in the seventh house. The North Node represents your soul's direction in this lifetime, the qualities you are here to grow into, even if they feel unfamiliar at first. Libra, ruled by Venus, is diplomatic, fair, and partnership-focused. The seventh house mirrors these themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one connections, contracts, and balance. When the North Node lands here, your soul's purpose is to learn cooperation, build equality in relationships, and find fulfillment through shared connection. This path calls you away from the South Node in Aries, or the first house, where independence, self-reliance, and personal drive may feel natural. In past lives or early in this one, you may have focused heavily on going it alone, prioritizing personal desires and self-assertion. Now you're being asked to balance that strength with partnership, compromise, and learning the art of give and take. In relationships, your growth lies in building bonds that honor equality. You're meant to learn patience, to listen, and to grow through the mirror of the other. In career, this placement thrives in law, mediation, design, counselling, or any field where cooperation, diplomacy, and fairness are central. Partnerships may play a key role in your professional success. In health, balance is essential. Harmony in your relationships often reflects harmony within your body. Stress may arise when life feels one-sided or imbalanced. Financially, you may find growth through business partnerships, contracts, or shared ventures. Your prosperity often increases when you collaborate rather than going solo. When the North Node in Libra or the seventh house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to lean into connection. You're not meant to walk this path alone. Relationships are part of your soul's evolution. So ask yourself, am I embracing the lessons of partnership or clinging to the comfort of independence? Because the North Node in Libra or the seventh house teaches that true growth comes not from standing apart, but from learning the beauty of balance, cooperation, and love shared with another. Today we step into the karmic comfort zone of the South Node in Libra, or in the seventh house. The South Node represents habits, patterns, and strengths from past lives or earlier in this one, qualities that feel familiar, but may hold you back if you rely on them too much. Libra, ruled by Venus, is diplomatic, charming, and partnership-focused. The seventh house mirrors these themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one connections, contracts, and balance. When the South Node lands here, the soul is familiar with seeking harmony through others, relying on relationships for identity, and prioritizing peace over individuality. This placement suggests you've already mastered the art of partnership. You know how to compromise, cooperate, and build bonds. But in this lifetime, growth lies in moving toward the North Node in Aries, or the first house, stepping into independence, self-leadership, and personal courage. In relationships, you may feel drawn to merge too deeply with others, losing sight of your own needs. You're learning to balance partnership with selfhood and to stand strong without always seeking validation. In career, you may thrive in roles that require diplomacy, teamwork, or client work, but your soul's growth asks you to also assert your own ideas, take initiative, and lead projects instead of staying in the supportive role. In health, stress may arise when you prioritize others at the expense of yourself. Learning to put your needs first is essential to maintaining balance. Financially, you may prefer shared resources or rely on others for support, but your evolution lies in developing independence and self-sufficiency. When the South Node in Libra or the seventh house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a reminder to step out of dependency and into your own power. Partnerships will still play a role, but they cannot define your entire path. So ask yourself, am I honouring my individuality or hiding behind the comfort of relationships? because the South Node in Libra, or the 7th house, teaches that while harmony with others is a gift, your soul's true growth comes from learning to lead with courage, independence, and self-trust. Today we step into the dynamic, passionate, and partnership-focused energy of Mars in Libra, or in the 7th house. Mars represents drive, action, and how we assert ourselves. Libra, ruled by Venus, is diplomatic, charming, and concerned with fairness. The 7th house mirrors these themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one relationships, and balance. When Mars lands here, ambition and passion are channeled into partnership, cooperation, and the pursuit of harmony through action. This placement creates someone who is energized by relationships. You're motivated by companionship and thrive when working with or alongside others. At your best, you're diplomatic, persuasive, and able to take action while keeping fairness at the forefront. At your most unbalanced, you may struggle with indecision, passive aggressiveness, or conflict avoidance. In relationships, you're passionate and charming, but you may also project assertiveness onto partners, drawing in strong-willed people. Learning to balance your own needs with those of others is a key lesson here. In career, Mars here shines in law, negotiation, counselling, design, or any field where action and cooperation go hand in hand. You're driven to resolve conflicts, create agreements, and bring fairness into the workplace. In health, stress may show up when you avoid conflict or suppress your assertive side. Physical movement, especially activities done with a partner, like dance, sport, or collaborative exercise, helps release energy. Financially, this placement may bring opportunities through partnerships, contracts, or collaborations. Balance in shared financial ventures is essential. When Mars in Libra, or the 7th house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to take action in relationships. This may mean asserting yourself more clearly, or channeling your energy into building healthier, fairer partnerships. So ask yourself, am I acting from a place of balance and fairness? Or am I giving away too much of my power to keep the peace? Because Mars in Libra, or the 7th house, teaches that true harmony and partnership comes not from avoiding conflict, but from acting with courage, fairness, and respect. Today, we step into the expansive, generous, and relationship-focused energy of Jupiter in Libra, or in the 7th house. Jupiter represents growth, wisdom, and opportunity. Libra, ruled by Venus, is diplomatic, balanced, and charming. The 7th house mirrors these themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one partnerships, contracts, and harmony. When Jupiter lands here, abundance and wisdom are gained through relationships, cooperation, and the art of building balance with others. This placement creates someone who attracts luck and growth through partnership. You're often blessed with supportive connections, and you may find that doors open when you collaborate rather than go it alone. At your best, you embody generosity, fairness, and optimism in your relationships. At your most unbalanced, you may rely too heavily on others, or avoid independence for the comfort of companionship. In relationships, you seek expansive, joyful, and fair partnerships. You're drawn to people who broaden your horizons, and you often bring warmth and optimism to love. In career, Jupiter here thrives in law, diplomacy, teaching, counselling, art, or any field where cooperation and fairness are key. Success often comes through partnerships or collaborative ventures. In health, emotional and physical well-being improve when your relationships feel balanced. Stress may appear when harmony is lacking, so surrounding yourself with supportive people helps restore vitality. Financially, Jupiter here can bring prosperity through marriage, business partnerships, or fair contracts. Shared ventures may open doors to long-term growth. When Jupiter in Libra, or the 7th house, appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message that blessings come through connection. A partnership, contract, or relationship may hold the key to growth now. So ask yourself, am I opening myself to the opportunities that come through cooperation? Or am I limiting my growth by trying to do everything alone? Because Jupiter in Libra, or the 7th house, teaches that life expands when you embrace harmony, fairness, and the wisdom that comes through partnership. Today we step into the steady, committed, and responsibility-focused energy of Saturn in Libra, or in the 7th house. Saturn represents discipline, structure, and long-term lessons. Libra, ruled by Venus, is diplomatic, balanced, and partnership-oriented. The seventh house mirrors these themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one relationships, contracts, and cooperation. When Saturn lands here, relationships become serious teachers, and your soul is called to learn patience, commitment, and balance through partnership. This placement creates someone who approaches connection with care and responsibility. You may take longer to commit, or you may face challenges in relationships that test your boundaries and maturity. At your best, you build strong, lasting partnerships based on fairness and respect. At your most unbalanced, you may struggle with fear of rejection, loneliness, or overly rigid expectations of yourself and others. In relationships, you seek loyalty, stability, and long-term commitment. Love may take time to blossom here, but when it does, it's enduring and deeply meaningful. In career, Saturn here shines in law, business, politics, or any field that requires negotiation, contracts, and teamwork. You may also excel in roles that require building partnerships with structure and responsibility. In health, stress may manifest when relationships feel unbalanced or when you suppress emotions. Learning to release pressure and embrace joy alongside duty supports well-being. Financially, partnerships may play a significant role. Shared responsibilities and long-term planning bring stability, though caution is required around contracts. When Saturn in Libra or the seventh house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a reminder that relationships require patience, boundaries, and responsibility. The lessons may feel heavy at times, but they're leading you toward growth and stability. So ask yourself, am I embracing the work of building strong, fair partnerships? Or am I letting fear and doubt hold me back? Because Saturn in Libra or the seventh house teaches that love and cooperation are not fleeting. They become powerful when built with patience, discipline, and mutual respect. Today, we step into the unconventional, liberating, and forward-thinking energy of Uranus in Libra or in the seventh house. Uranus represents change, freedom, and innovation. Libra, ruled by Venus, is diplomatic, harmony-seeking, and partnership-focused. The seventh house reflects these same themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one relationships, contracts, and balance. When Uranus lands here, relationships and partnerships take on an unpredictable, exciting, and unconventional quality. This placement creates someone who seeks freedom and originality in connection. You may be drawn to unusual or non-traditional partnerships, or you may experience sudden shifts in your relationships over time. At your best, you bring freshness, excitement, and new ideas into your bonds. At your most unbalanced, you may resist commitment or disrupt harmony in the name of independence. In relationships, you need a partner who respects your individuality and allows space for freedom. You thrive in partnerships that are stimulating, progressive, and never stagnant. In career, Uranus here shines in law reform, social justice, technology, art, or any field that involves partnerships and innovation. You're here to challenge outdated systems and create more balanced, forward-thinking collaborations. In health, emotional well-being may be tied to relational stability. Stress can arise from sudden changes, so cultivating flexibility and grounding practices helps maintain balance. Financially, unexpected gains or losses may come through contracts, business partnerships, or shared ventures. Innovative collaborations, however, can also bring breakthroughs. When Uranus in Libra or the seventh house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message that change in partnership is either unfolding or necessary. Freedom and balance must go hand in hand. So ask yourself, am I open to new ways of relating? Or am I clinging to outdated expectations of partnership? Because Uranus in Libra or the seventh house teaches that true harmony isn't about following tradition. It's about building relationships that honor both connection and individuality. Today, we step into the dreamy, idealistic, and compassionate energy of Neptune in Libra or in the seventh house. Neptune represents spirituality, illusion, and imagination. Libra, ruled by Venus, is balanced, romantic, and partnership-focused. The seventh house mirrors these themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one relationships, contracts, and cooperation. When Neptune lands here, relationships are touched by idealism, fantasy, and a longing for deep soulful connection. This placement creates someone who often sees partnership as a sacred bond. You may have a romantic, almost otherworldly view of love, and you long for harmony, beauty, and spiritual depth in your relationships. At your best, you bring compassion, empathy, and devotion into your connections. At your most unbalanced, you may struggle with illusions, projection, or disappointment when reality doesn't match the dream. In relationships, you're deeply loving and intuitive, but you may need to set clear boundaries to avoid self-sacrifice or idealizing partners. In career, Neptune here shines in art, music, spiritual guidance, counseling, or any work that blends creativity with compassion. You may also excel in mediation or diplomacy, where empathy and imagination open doors. In health, sensitivity to others' emotions may affect your balance. Practices that ground you, such as meditation, creativity, or time in nature, help maintain well-being. Financially, you may need to be cautious with contracts and shared resources, as Neptune can blur clarity. Transparency and practicality are essential. When Neptune in Libra or the 7th house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a message to see relationships clearly. The desire for ideal love is beautiful, but real growth comes from blending dreams with reality. So ask yourself, am I embracing love as it truly is? Or am I holding on to a fantasy of what I wish it to be? Because Neptune in Libra or the 7th house teaches that true harmony comes not from illusion, but from the compassion and beauty of love lived authentically. Today, we step into the intense, transformative, and deeply relational energy of Pluto in Libra or in the 7th house. Pluto represents power, transformation, and rebirth. Libra, ruled by Venus, is diplomatic, harmony-seeking, and partnership-focused. The 7th house mirrors these same themes. It governs marriage, one-to-one relationships, contracts, and balance. When Pluto lands here, relationships become powerful catalysts for growth, healing, and transformation. This placement creates someone who experiences deep change through partnership. Your relationships may feel fated, magnetic, or intense, often bringing both passion and challenge. At your best, you grow through intimacy, honesty, and the willingness to confront shadow dynamics. At your most unbalanced, you may encounter control issues, jealousy, or power struggles in love. In relationships, you long for depth and loyalty. Casual connections rarely satisfy you. You're drawn to bonds that feel transformative, even if they push you to confront fears or hidden parts of yourself. In career, Pluto here thrives in law, counseling, psychology, mediation, or any field involving contracts, negotiation, and transformation through partnerships. You may also excel in uncovering hidden truths or reforming unfair systems. In health, stress may come from relational intensity or emotional suppression. Healing occurs when you release control, embrace vulnerability, and allow balance in your partnerships. Financially, shared resources may be a central theme. Power struggles around money are possible, but this placement also gives the ability to transform financial circumstances through joint ventures. When Pluto in Libra or the 7th house appears in an astrology dice roll during a psychic reading, it's a sign that a relationship or partnership may be going through deep transformation. Power dynamics need to be addressed honestly for balance to be restored. So ask yourself, am I using my relationships to grow and transform, or am I getting caught in control and fear? Because Pluto in Libra or the 7th house teaches that true partnership is not about domination or dependency. It's about transformation, balance, and the courage to face truth together.